MudBlazor Components, Part 1. In Part 1 of the MudBlazor Components series, we'll be demonstrating the implementation of components starting with A through to B, where B includes all the MudBlazor button components. As more parts of the series becomes available, you'll find their links in the description below. Also, the description includes a GitHub link to all the source code. For this demonstration, we'll use a standard Blazor web app and set it to server per page interactive render mode. There's a video link in the description below on how to install MudBlazor, but we'll quickly review it. Add the MudBlazor package to your app using the Package Manager console. Add a global using for MudBlazor in your imports file. Copy the style sheet links from the MudBlazor.com site and paste it into your app.razor file. Also, you can remove the old Bootstrap style sheet. Copy the script statement from the MudBlazor site and paste it last in the body element. Remember to set your routes to use interactive render mode. Finally, register the Mud service in the program.cs file. With MudBlazor installed, we can start by changing the layout. In the main layout.razor file, add the MudBlazor providers. Replace the existing div layout with MudLayout. Add a MudAppBar with a MudIconButton to toggle the drawer visibility and add your application title. Add the MudDrawer, which will display your navigation menu component, and add the MudMain content element to display the page body. In the code section, add the method that will toggle the drawer visibility. Add or change the nav menu razor component that is displayed in the drawer. Create a MudNav menu element with links to your pages. With that all in place, your application should now look like this. Again, this was just a quick review. The full video on installation and setup of MudBlazor is in a video link in the description below. Our first component is MudAlert. We've added a new razor component for it called MudAlert Comp, and we've added the new page to our nav menu. We'll do the same thing for every component we're going to discuss. Here we use a mud grid just for layout purposes. We'll discuss the mud grid in detail at a later stage, but simply every mud item is a different column. The MudAlert component has a severity attribute. This simply specifies the color of the alert. Success is green, error is red, and so on. The class we're using here is the vertical spacing between the elements and is not specific to MudAlert. The next attribute of the MudAlert is variant. This changes how the alert is displayed. In this case, we're telling it to show the alert with an outline. The dense attribute is the padding between the message and the border of the alert. If set to true, the padding is smaller. In the third example, we set the variant to filled. This will display as a solid filled background. Also, we use the no icon attribute to prevent the alert from displaying the icons. Let's see what this looks like. First, we have the default alerts displayed in their severity colors. Then we have the outlined alerts with dense padding. Notice how their vertical size is smaller. Lastly, we have the filled dense alerts with no icons. The MudAppBar is a layout component. It can appear at the top or bottom of your application and generally contains the application title, an icon button to open and close the menu drawer, or other elements like login and about, etc. Because it is a layout component, you would typically use it in your main layout.razor file. Here, our app bar contains the icon button to open and close the drawer and the title of the application. It also has its dense attribute set to true to make its height smaller. As an example, let's set its bottom attribute to true, so the app bar is displayed at the bottom of the page. You can set its fixed attribute to true, so the app bar will not move when you scroll the page. Also, we're demonstrating using the mud spacer element to shift the next icon button to the right side. You can place all sorts of things in the app bar. Here's an example of a pop-up menu that appears when the user clicks an icon button. We'll discuss the mud menu in more detail at a later stage. Now, something very powerful about the app bar is its contextual formatting. But just on a side note, notice you don't have to type out dense equals true and fixed equals true. You can just drop in the attribute and it assumes you mean it's true. Back to the contextual. We'll use it to change the contents of the app bar when the user clicks on an image. For this, we replaced the body in the main content with an image the user can click on. Once the image is clicked, a show context variable is changed to true. This will make the contextual action bar visible. The contextual action bar is what will be displayed in place of the normal app bar. In here, we have an icon button to close the contextual action bar. This simply sets the visibility back to false. Then we display some text and 2 additional icon buttons to perform some action. Let's see how this works. The MudAvatar component displays text, numbers, or icons in a small icon shape. Usually this is used to display a user's profile image. Here we used a div with flex display just to line up the avatars. You can set its color and also its variant to default, outlined, or filled. Alternatively, you can display an image of a user and choose between 3 sizes. You may have seen grouping of avatars, perhaps to display the number of users currently active. We can set the maximum number of avatars to display and the spacing between them. Any additional avatars will be displayed in a count value. Then you can also choose the shape of the avatar, round or square. You may also have noticed sometimes a red dot appears on an avatar. This is a badge, and we'll discuss badges in more detail at a later stage. But this demonstrates how to add a badge onto an avatar. Badges are the little dots you can place on elements like icons, buttons, text, etc. to draw a user's attention. By default, they are blank, but can contain numbers or icons. Interesting is that if you set a badge's content to a 3-digit number like 100, it will replace it with 99 plus to keep the badge from growing too big. Also, icons will shrink to the size of the badge. Other attributes are the color, overlap, bordered, and dot. Overlap indicates whether the badge should be on top of the element or on the side of an element. Bordered is usually used together with overlap if you want a border around the badge so it looks like it's cutting into the element. The dot attribute will reduce the badge to a dot size, and it doesn't have any content. The origin attributes indicates where to place the badge. It can be around the element or on top in the center of the element. The last 3 examples here we use dot badges. For the MudBreadcrumbs component, you need to specify a list of breadcrumb items to display. The items will have a text component and a URL to link to. For the last item, which is probably the current page the user is on, you would set its URL to null and disable it from being clicked. You can specify a separator character using the separator attribute, or you can provide a custom separator, like an icon, by using the separator template. You can also customize the items themselves with the item template. It requires you to set a context and then use that context inside your customization. If you want icons next to the link items, you need to specify this in the list items themselves. If you suspect that your breadcrumbs may grow too big, you can collapse it by setting the maximum number of items it can display. The user can then click on the collapsed items to expand them. The MudBreakpointProvider listens to changes in the browser's size. It returns the window's current breakpoint, be that extra small, XS, medium MD, large LG, etc. Instead of relying on the iBreakpoint listener service, the MudBreakpointProvider reduces the number of render cycles when the browser size changes. It is often used in conjunction with the MudHidden component, which sets a breakpoint for an element. So, unless the value exposed by the breakpoint provider matches the breakpoint on the hidden element, that element will be hidden. Otherwise, it is displayed. So, for example, if you have two versions of an element, one large and one small, and you want to display the version that corresponds to the browser size. Here on our device, we can see the large, and up, and medium and up elements displaying. But when we change the size of the browser, we see the smaller elements appearing, like extra small and medium and down. The large, medium, and large and up disappeared. The MudBlazor button is pretty straightforward. You can set its variant to a filled background, outlined, or simply text that behave like a button. Also, you can disable its drop shadow to make it look flat. For sizing, you get small, medium, and large, and if you like, you can make the button span the full width of the page. You can add an icon to the button. The start icon is on the left and the end icon is on the right side. Alternatively, you can style the button how you like. Buttons can also behave like links. Here we set the button's hrefs and their target window. As a bonus, you can group buttons using the MudButtonGroup. In this case, we grouped a button with a Mud menu with a drop-down arrow. Each item in the menu will change the text on the button. This can be handy when space is limited on a page. The MudFab component is a button type that is round with an icon or a capsule shape when it includes text. Like the normal button, you can set the icon on the left or right side with start and end icon. To include text in the Fab button, use the label attribute, or disable a button with the disable attribute. As expected, you can also set a Fab button size to small, medium, or large. The MudBlazor button group, as the name implies, groups buttons together. From here, you can set attributes for all the buttons in the group, like color and variant. You can change the group to display vertically by setting the vertical attribute. Setting the size attribute adds a little size change to the buttons. Also, you can group different kinds of buttons, like an icon button and a button with an icon. Here, we grouped a button with a menu. When a menu item is selected, the button text changes. The MudIconButton, as the name implies, is an icon that behaves like a button. Like any button, you can specify the color or disable it. Also, you can set the variant to outlined or filled and use the different sizes. As an alternative, you don't have to stick to the MudBlazor icons. You can use Font Awesome's icons, for example. For this, you'll need a link to Font Awesome in your app.razor file. The MudToggleIconButton can switch between two icons when clicked and changes its toggle state between true and false. It has an icon and color attribute, which is the default icon displayed. Then its toggled icon and toggled color defines the icon it will switch to when clicked. In this first example, we use two-way binding with bind toggled to change a bool value in our code. In the second example, we use the toggled change event to update a bool value in our code. Thank you for watching our video. For more tutorials on C#, click subscribe. Give us a like so the video can be visible to more people.